Good evening and welcome to the July 6th, 2021 regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and Councilmember Neil Harris is going to lead us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Neil. Next item on our agenda is reflection, and I hope everyone had a wonderful July 4th holiday weekend celebrating our nation's 245th birthday. And with that, I will call for a moment of silence. Thank you all very much. Before we get into our agenda, I do want to note that on a previous iteration of our agenda, we did have scheduled for this evening a vote on the contract for the Solitaire Court stream restoration project. We are deferring that vote. It will not happen at tonight's meeting. Instead, after the reason behind this is we've had some questions. We've had a lot of questions from the public, and there's been a lot of information, and some of it a bit exaggerated, being passed around in public, and we wanted to take an opportunity to have a discussion, just some background, because some of the decisions that have led to stream restoration projects were made 6 and 7 years ago, before several members of the council were here and before a lot of members of the public were paying attention. And so next week, we're adding it to our work session agenda to have a discussion on stream restoration projects and, sort of more broadly meeting our requirements for stormwater remediation. And so anybody who'd like to participate, please join us next Monday night, July 12th. In the meantime, let's move on to minutes. And tonight we have two sets of minutes before us to approve. The first being from the work session on Monday, June 14th. What is the pleasure of the council? Mike.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of the minutes from the joint work session from Monday, June 14th, 2021.
Okay, do we have a second? Rob.
Second.
Rob's got some barking going on in the background. Okay, I will call the roll. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, say nay. We will start with Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
And Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
All right, thank you. That carries 4-0. Next, we have the minutes from the regular session on Monday, June 21st. What's the pleasure of the council? Lorianne, please.
Mayor, I'd like to move the approval of the meeting minutes.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Mike, please.
I'll second the minutes from June 21st.
Okay, I will call the roll. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
And Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Carries 4-0. Next on our agenda is presentations and staff. Tech team, if you could bring up the proclamation. We have proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month. And I will just read the background material. Since 1985, America has celebrated July as Park and Recreation Month, a program of National Recreation and Park of the National Recreation and Park Association, NRPA. The goal is to raise awareness of the vital impact that parks and recreation have on our communities across the United States. This year's theme is Our Park and Recreation Story. And the city will be highlighting the stories of how our community is stronger, more vibrant, and more resilient because of parks and recreation. Parks are at the center of so many experiences and memories, moments that park and recreation professionals help make happen. Our local parks are often our first experiences in nature, our introduction to a favorite hobby or physical activity. They're places to gather with friends and family, spaces to celebrate life's special moments, spots of respite and healing, sites that connect us with essential community services, and so much more. City parks have been essential throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, we all know, with many of our community members finding a new appreciation for these essential spaces and the vital programs we provide. Issuing this proclamation will remind Gaithersburg citizens of the importance of our parks and recreation facilities and programs, while encouraging everyone to embrace active lifestyles and improve their overall health. In celebration of Parks and Recreation Month, the city is offering a variety of opportunities for health, fitness, and cultural arts as a way of getting back to a more normal summer. These include moonlight movies at the mansion. Bring a blanket, lawn chair, and picnic and enjoy family-friendly movies under the stars on the front lawn of historic Kentland's mansion, July 1st, well, that already passed, July 15th and 29th at sunset. Skate park mural celebration. Come out and enjoy the new mural at the skate park on July 3rd and 4th. Well, they passed, but you know what? The mural is still there. You can enjoy it any day of the week, and it's an amazing mural. We were there for the ribbon cutting this weekend. Miniature golf. The city miniature golf course is open throughout the month of July. Enjoy Military Day. Well, I'm not going to read that because that already passed on July 4th. Summer soccer program kickoff at Gaithersburg and Summit Hall Elementary Schools. Join in the fun with the summer soccer program in partnership with Montgomery County Recreation on July 13th. Sports Fest 1K and 3K fun runs help us celebrate sports at the Sports Fest fun runs at Boer Park on July 17th. There's Zumba in the park. Zumba features interval dance sessions that combine fast and slow rhythms to maximize fat burning. Fridays, 7 to 8 p.m. at Boer Park's Park Pavilion. Yoga on the Green. This is an all levels, breath-centric, evenly paced class of flowing postures that will build and nurture strength, ease, and focus. Tuesday, 7 to 8 p.m. at the Kentlands Green. Kids Art at the Mansion. Tap into your child's creativity this summer. Let them spend the afternoon working on an art project each Tuesday from June 22nd through July 13th. On stage, the virtual magic hour with Koresh Tay. I hope I pronounced that right. Backed by popular demand in a brand new format is Koresh Tay, and in an revolutionary virtual magic and mind reading experience, July 24th at 8 p.m. The Benjamin Gaither Center will be celebrating holidays missed during the pandemic in a week of holidays beginning on July 26th. We have Storytime Station. Join us outside at History Park for a morning of books, songs, and movement on July 27th at 11 a.m. And of course, we have our farmers markets. The city has 2 farmers markets providing residents with locally grown produce throughout the growing season. Casey Community Center Farmers Market is open on Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And the Main Street Farmers and Artist Market is open on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we are proclaiming Parks and Recreation Month. Thank you, Tech Team. And now is the time where the Mayor and Council, this is next on our agenda is public comments. This is the time when the Mayor and Council would like to hear from anybody who'd like to speak on any topic that's not a public hearing topic. And that's easy tonight because we have no public hearing topics. We ask that you state your name and address or neighborhood if you feel more comfortable. Keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes. And if you have more than 3 minutes worth of material for us, please send it to us via email and we'll consider it just like oral testimony. And I'm going to ask the tech team to play a little instructional video for anybody who'd like to speak tonight.
Good evening. If you've connected to the meeting tonight via Zoom and you're on a desktop or a laptop and you wish to make a public comment, we can't currently see or hear you. What you need to do, please, is wiggle your mouse around and look towards the bottom center of your screen. You should see a raise hand button. Go ahead and click on that now for us, please. Alternatively, if you've connected in via telephone, you can press *9.
Thank you, Tech Team. At this moment, I see one hand up. Tech Team, if you could bring up Lynn Nash, please. And Lynn, just unmute yourself, state your name and address or neighborhood, and go right ahead.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Nash and I live in Saybrook. I want to thank the city for assisting neighbors from Whetstone Run and Saybrook in installing a pollinator garden in Victory Farm Stream Park. If you haven't come to visit it, please come and do it. The city provided the space, plantings, and mulch, and neighbors provided the manpower. For a little over $2,000, we got this amazing pollinator garden that had bees and butterflies before we even had the plants in the ground. So thank you again. But this is a good time to mention that Victory Farm Stream Park doesn't have a sign, and we don't have trash barrels at the start and end of the trail that goes from Victory Farm Drive up to Forest Oak Middle School. I would appreciate if you would consider doing this because we have a lot of walkers who generate trash and there's no place for them to put it. I've asked for increased traffic enforcement at the four-way stop sign on Saybrook Oaks and Victory Farm Drive. Almost every day we have a near miss, and I'm concerned that a pedestrian will be hit. But my big issue tonight is the Solitaire Court Stream Park Restoration Project. It involves a little over 2,200 feet of stream, and it's an area that drains for 261 acres. The site includes 115 trees, of which 49 are specimen trees, which are in diameter of 30 inches or more. Right now, the project is slated to take 20 of these specimen trees down, which is just wrong, especially in our city of trees. So council members, I know you have a working session next week on this. I am hoping that you will pause the review of the Solitary Court Stream Park Restoration Project and investigate other alternatives to meet the stormwater drain requirements that we have. I agree with Dr. Lauren Hubbard that we can't simply replant this area. I would hope that you would not repeat what you did at Bloom Park, which was to clear cut the entire park. It looks awful. Please stop the project now. The EPA is giving a 1-year extension on stormwater permits because of COVID. Please take advantage of it and pause and reevaluate this proposed project. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Do we have anybody else from the public who'd like to speak tonight? So just use the Zoom raise hand. Okay, I see Mary Kay Smith first. Tech team, if you could bring up Mary Kay, that'd be great. Just unmute yourself, state your name and address or neighborhood and go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Mary Kay Smith. I live in Germantown, and I am the new president of the Seneca Creek Watershed Partners. I, in part, wanted to introduce myself. Debbie Sarabia has been leading our group until the end of June, and at that point I took over, and we submitted a letter which you have hopefully read regarding this stream restoration project at Solitaire Court. So since that is going to be discussed in detail in your meeting on the 12th, I won't say more than just wanted to introduce myself and let you know that we too, as Lynn has just said, are hoping very much that you will delay this project and choose a less destructive approach to doing the stream restoration. And then just as a personal comment, I'm a master gardener of many years, and it's clear when you visit the woodlands in that any area where there's been any significant degree of disturbance of the soil, what happens is invasive plants come in. And I didn't see anything in your contract to be providing the very significant labor that's going to be required to maintain this area over many years, because otherwise it will simply become eventually predominantly invasive plants. As it is now, the area does have a lot of invasive plants in it because there was a disturbance when a sewer line was laid in, and no effort to try to control it, as far as I'm aware, on a systematic way from the city, the invasive plants that followed that. So again, we'll hopefully be able to share more of our concerns in the meeting that is specifically set up to address this. But I wanted to introduce myself as being the new president of Seneca Creek Watershed Partners. you may remember me. I've been to several of your meetings to receive environmental awards for work that I did creating a native plant garden at the historic African American Pleasant View, and also for distributing more than 2,000 native trees in our watershed. I've served on the board of the Muddy Branch for many years, and as well as on the board of the Seneca Creek Watershed Partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tech team, if you could bring up Debbie Sarabia, please. Debbie, just state your name and address or neighborhood. Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Debbie Sarabia, and I live near the Victory Farm Park, which is actually my favorite park. And I'm was very excited to see this new pollinator garden, and really appreciate you all working with us to put that in, and working with the neighbors and residents. It's a really nice asset for our park. My main comment tonight is on the proposal for Diamond Farms Park, also known as Solitaire Court, also known as Long Draft Branch. Thinking back to, you may remember the Blown Park debate. It got heated, and we have the city council and the staff acknowledged at the time that public outreach was lacking, seriously lacking. Here we are again. Improvement was promised, but doesn't look like it really made much of a difference. For the Solitaire Court stream restoration project in Diamond Farms Park, there was a public meeting in 2017. At that time, the neighbors didn't want a pond. So the city said, we'll redo this as a stream restoration. Okay, that was all good, but good outreach started. But that was the last we heard until 2021, when we had the Planning Commission held a variance hearing for the removal of the trees. And then the project manager held a stream walk, a question and answer event for people to walk the project area. So the public has not had any really meaningful influence in the design itself. And in fact, it seems a lot of people don't really know what's going on here, and that this is going to be actually a major project removing a very large area of forest. This project does remove a functioning, healthy forest ecosystem. That's not just a bunch of trees. From soil to canopy, it's a system. Have you heard this expression? The surgery was a success, but the patient died. It's kind of what we're looking at here. Sure, we get the credits, we get the MS4 permit requirements, stabilize the banks, reduce sediment loads, and that's all good, but at what cost? So I'm asking you to seriously consider redoing this project so we can protect our city parks forest and meet all our permit requirements. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Tech team, if you could bring up Ann Smith, please. And just unmute yourself, state your name and address or neighborhood, and go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Ann Smith. My address is I live on Wayridge Drive in an adjacent neighborhood to the city, and I was the original president of Seneca Creek Watershed Partners, and both Debbie and Mary Kay have been helping tremendously in recent years. I think the MS4 itself and the requirements for MS4, there are a lot of options. And I think one of the things about the stream restoration projects is that you can side skirt impervious surface issues. And it's very hard to, knock out concrete and put in imperviousness. And many of the 26 or 25 other options to the MS4 are very difficult in the sense that they're required through the zoning process for the developer. So the MS4 route has many options, but the stream part of it allows the county, the state, the cities to bypass the developer and their own zoning requirements for either parking or whatever impervious surfaces are going on. And I think that's really what's completely evident in the city, because cities tend to have more impervious surface. They have worse runoff problems. So it doesn't really do any good to do the stream restoration projects if the issues are coming from impervious surfaces, whether it be Lake Forest Mall or the small shopping centers in Montgomery Village or the roads themselves. So I think that's worth a discussion on the 12th. And that's what I wanted to tell you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other speakers tonight? If so, please just hit that Zoom raise hand function. Going once, going twice. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for your testimony. And, as mentioned, we will be discussing the stream restoration project at next week's work session. We hope everyone will join us. In the meantime, our next agenda item is from the mayor and city council, and we're going to start with council member Lorianne Sales.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry about that. All right, so this is, okay. So I was able to join the National League of Cities to do a little bragging about our amazing city and how we manage our retail spaces here in the city of Gaithersburg. It was for the Future of Cities report, a 3-year study on the future of retail. And so I was a participant back in 2019 when I chaired the Community and Economic Development Committee and hosted municipal leaders from across the country to visit the city of Gaithersburg. They were really impressed with the mix and diversity of businesses that we have here, and how even throughout this pandemic, we've still been able to have a very active retail market. And so really excited to participate in that discussion and highlight how we do economic development here so well. I had a meeting with Council President Tom Hucker regarding our body-worn camera bill that was recently implemented in the city of Gaithersburg back in May, following the incident at the beginning of the year with our plainclothes officers involved in a shooting. Really proud of the police department here in Gaithersburg responding to ensure that all of our officers, regardless if they are uniformed or not, will be fitted with body cameras moving forward. So the county council is also reviewing this legislation as well through the Public Safety Committee, which former Mayor Sidney Katz chairs. And so happy to be participating in discussion to see if we can have this adopted countywide now that it's been implemented in the city of Gaithersburg. So kudos to our chief of police in the department for responding accordingly. Last week we were off because we attended the Maryland Municipal League's annual summer meeting in Ocean City. Most of the council members were able to attend this 3-4-day event that culminated in the election of a new MML president. Ryan, who is not here with us, cycled off as ex officio off of the board, and now I'll still be serving on the board of directors as the liaison to the National League of Cities. So a whole new recruit of municipal leaders will be serving our municipalities across the state in the coming year. And so we talked about a lot of issues from pandemic relief, vaccination distributions, revitalizing the economy. Me and Mike actually had the pleasure of having lunch with someone from the governor's cabinet who we were able to ask about the unemployment crisis and some of the construction that's happening up county regarding the widening of I-270. So we took full advantage of being in close proximity with our leaders. I even joined the mayor to talk with some other leaders, and I'm sure he'll discuss that at the appropriate time. And so provides a really good opportunity for us to engage with our colleagues from across the state and also learn best practices that we can bring back here to the city of Gaithersburg. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Lorianne. We will go to Rob Wu.
Thanks, Mayor. As always, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Oh, wait, happy birthday to Ryan.
All right. I'm sure he'll watch this and he will appreciate your good message there. We will go to Mike Sesma.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just add to Lorianne's comments about the MML convention. Certainly it was a different convention than the last time we met, or last time the elected officials and member cities of the MML met in 2019. There was the attendance was a little less than 500, but everybody there was eager to participate and be out in the public and commiserating with our colleagues, elected colleagues from throughout the state. It was interesting that out of the 500 registrants for this meeting, 100 were newly elected officials, people who've been elected in the last year. So there's a lot of excitement there and a lot of information that we could share with each other and talk about our favorite cities. Again, I'll echo also the birthday wishes to Ryan Spiegel. So it was happy birthday to Ryan. I'm sure he's busy doing something tonight. So anyway, on Friday, I was able to attend and represent the council at a retirement event for two of our officers who have served a combined 45 years for the city. Officer Everett Kamak and Officer Bobby Blackman both retired at the end of last week. I hope they turned in their time cards. That was they were instructed to do that at the meeting. But big shoes to fill for both of them. I think Bobby was well known as the SRO at Gaithersburg High School and certainly admired across the Gaithersburg High School community. Not only for his good work as being the SRO, but basically being like an extra guidance counselor and life counselor for students at Gaithersburg High School. And Officer Kamak, Everett Kamak, has been a coach for football at a couple different schools. He's been very active, a member of the community as well. I think the force is really going to miss them both, but they gave loyal service and certainly we all, I think the council collectively admire their service and dedication to the job and representing our police force well and representing the city. So we wish them the best in their next career. On Saturday, I joined my colleagues, Mayor Ashman and Councilmember Harris, participating in the Kentlands July 4th parade. So I'm going to let Neil describe the rest of that. So, and then on Saturday, a number of us attended the dedication of the mural at the skate park. You got to go see it. It's awesome. And I hope this is the first of many murals we have in the city. So I guess back to the MML, I just want to congratulate Salisbury Mayor Jake Day, who assumed the presidency of MML. and to our colleague from College Park, Councilmember Denise Mitchell, who is now the president-elect. One of the nice things that happened at the MML meeting this year was NLC President Kathy Manus, a personal friend, but also the leader of the organization, attended the meeting this year, recruiting cities to join the NLC. It was great to have her. She stayed the entire meeting, and boy, can she work a room. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We'll go to Neil.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to join the chorus of happy birthdays to our colleague Ryan Spiegel, who I think is 39 yet again this year. I would like to touch on MML as well. It was, as has been said, it was a good event, even though attendance was lower. We had a good turnout from the city, not only elected officials, but the entirety of the city manager staff were there and participating and meeting with people. On the topic of stream restoration projects and meeting our permit requirements, as wandering the floor of the exhibition hall, I had a chance to stop by the booth of the Maryland Environmental Service and meet the new executive director, Dr. Charles Glass, who I had met briefly a couple of years ago when he was with MDOT. And we had a good discussion of stream restoration projects and do's and don'ts. And I passed his information along to city staff for further discussion. So I'm looking forward to next week's work session to see what's what as far as best ways to proceed and best practices going forward. I do want to point out that that the Bloem Park project was not entirely, the park was not entirely clear cut. I would like to correct that misconception. I've actually rode my bicycle over to the park a couple of weekends ago just to check it out. And you know, there was a significant amount of work done, but there's a significant amount of park still remaining, of course. One other thing that happened at MML, this year was the first time I participated as a member of the conference planning committee. And one of the areas that I wanted to see on the agenda that made it into the agenda was how to get groups of residents of our city to participate more in our city government who don't typically show up, because we get a lot of the same people, but there's a lot of different new groups of immigrants and other people who typically don't participate very much. So there was a panel put together by the conference staff and an incredible, robust discussion. It went very differently than the way the organizers expected, but the room was full of energy and there were lots of great ideas, some of which we're already doing here in Gaithersburg, but lots of discussions, and I'm sure that will be ongoing as a way to get more people involved so that we're really reflecting the wishes of a broader community. And I have been asked to read an announcement. After a closed executive session was held virtually by the mayor and city council on Monday, June 21st, 2021 at approximately 9 p.m. pursuant to a motion adopted unanimously. The meeting was proposed to be closed pursuant to the general provisions article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, section 3-305B1I, the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction. Just want you to know I read that with one breath. The topic discussed was a personnel matter to discuss the city attorney's annual review. Present at the meeting were Mayor Ashman, Council members Harris, Sales, Sesma, Spiegel, and Wu. Staff present was City Attorney Board. Upon conclusion of the discussion, the closed meeting was adjourned at approximately 9:18 p.m. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neil. And I want to start off just by congratulating you and your colleagues on the planning committee for a really good conference at MML. You guys put together, this was a different kind of year, and you guys put together a really interesting program with some sessions that certainly I'd never seen before, and I thought were very valuable. MML was, as Mike and as everybody has said, you know, we had somewhat less attendance this year, but the networking was really good. I I had the opportunity to make some specific lobbying time with the deputy director of the State Department of Management and Budget. Hopefully I'm not butchering the title of the cabinet department, because there's so many. We had some good, I can't remember who was Mike or Lorian that mentioned there was a whole bunch of new elected officials this year, including a lot of new mayors. Definitely had opportunities to network and get to meet some of the newer mayors in the state. We got a lot of time to spend with our colleagues in Rockville, which is good. I think that's a really beneficial thing that happens when we get to know each other on and their issues and our issues, and I just feel like it works better between the two cities. And also members of the Frederick Mayor and Frederick Alderman. So MML was great, and then congratulations, Neil. Picking up where what Mike mentioned about on the mural, I highly recommend, as I said before too during the proclamation, the mural is really great. It was done by a young graduate of Gaithersburg High School named Eric Carbelling. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. And he wasn't there. He couldn't make it to the ribbon cutting on Saturday, but the mural represents significant things in our community. Each of the different parts of the mural represents something that's significant to the community or significant specifically to the skate park, including one motto, "Keep Pushing," which comes from a tattoo from worn by a former employee of the skate park, who unfortunately we lost to an overdose several years ago. So it's a tribute to him, and his memory lives on in this important way, and it means a lot to all of us. So I highly encourage everyone to go out there and take a look, and I hope people got a chance to see fireworks, but if you did not, we will be having fireworks. Tanisha, sorry to put you on the spot. This is a done deal, right? It's going to happen around Labor Day weekend?
It is a done deal. It's going to be on Sunday, I believe it's September 6th.
The night before Labor Day.
Correct.
Yeah. So we will be having
September 5th.
We will be having our city fireworks, and we hope you'll all, even if you saw fireworks last night, come get a second dose with us in Gaithersburg. And so I will note that next week we have a work session, July 12th. It's not only to discuss the Solitaire Court Stream restoration project. It's also, we had other things on the agenda before that will still be there. We're going to be receiving presentations on the Montgomery County Building Energy Performance Standards legislation and the Montgomery County Planning Corridor Forward Transit Plan. So that will be Monday, July 12th, 7:30 p.m. However you're watching us now, you can watch us on Monday or participate in the Zoom if you like. And it's my understanding that we need to hold a closed executive session this evening. So we need a motion, and Council Vice President Sesma, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the mayor and city council of the city of Gaithersburg conduct a closed executive session virtually by teleconference on Tuesday, July 6th, 2021, pursuant to the general provisions article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, section 3-305B8, to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation. The topic to discuss is potential litigation regarding the 16 South Summit Avenue matter.
Thank you, Mike. Do we have a second? Lorianne, please.
Second.
Okay, I will call the roll. All in favor say aye, and opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
And Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
Okay, carries 4-0. So we will be having that closed executive session immediately after this meeting. And now we will move on to from the city manager, Tanisha.
Thank you, Mayor. I will, if it's okay with you, provide a report on behalf of Assistant City Manager Tom Lonergan with some economic development good news to report. I'll do my best to provide it in the very cheerful way that Tom typically delivers these reports. So we are happy to report that yet another biotech company will soon be joining Gaithersburg's business community. Good news on any day, but especially good when we can report that this investment will be happening in Old Town. Sylvic Biologics, currently located in Rockville, has signed a multi-year lease for 6,000 square feet of lab and office space at 200 Girard Street, near the corner of East Diamond Avenue. The company will also be adding to Gaithersburg's status as a center for the development of vaccines, but in their case, not for humans. Sylvic has developed the first method for vaccinating trees using a breakthrough RNA therapy that can defend them against infectious agents. Trees are being decimated by disease at an unprecedented rate, threatening crops and the livelihoods of farmers around the globe. The company believes that their technology can provide a lifetime of protection for vegetation against many diseases and represents as much of a breakthrough for trees as the invention of vaccines and antibodies have had for humans. Sylvic, which currently has 8 employees on its team, has filed for patent on their technology and has received grant money from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, along with significant venture capital. And with the assistance of a toolbox grant to be provided by the city, Sylvic will be spending more than $300,000 to improve the space on Girard Street, which they hope to have ready for occupancy by late summer. Their president, Raphael Simon, told Tom that our wealth of residents with scientific backgrounds, the city's cluster of biotechnology companies, and its proximity to federal labs made Gaithersburg the perfect place for the company's new facility. And they look forward to inviting the mayor and council to tour the space as soon as it is ready. And that concludes my report.
That is fantastic news. Thank you for sharing. And please thank Tom for feeding you the information, because it's just great. It's great. Okay, so we are going to move on to ordinances, resolutions, and regulations. And tech team, if you could bring up Barbara Harbison, please. And I see Maureen Herndon as well. Maybe we should bring up Maureen. And we're going to talk about a nonprofit, a grant to execute a contract with a nonprofit agency for the City of Gaithersburg Nonprofit Community Services Grants. And we have Barbara Harbison. Welcome, Barbara. Barbara, you are muted currently.
I am muted. There I am.
There you go.
There I am.
All right, welcome.
I think Maureen wants to start this evening.
Sure. And I will hand it to Barbara in just a moment. I just wanted to make some clarification points. For the public, I'm Maureen Herndon, Division Manager of Community Services for the city. We oversee 2 city committees, the Community Advisory Committee and the Education Enrichment Committee. We administer about $1 million in city grant funding. The bulk goes to the community service grants that Barbara's going to give you a lot more details on in just a second. And there's also about $200,000 that goes to our youth enrichment grant programs. I believe the mayor and council got a memo not too long ago in the packet that gives you the recommendations for the community service grants that, again, Barbara will talk to you about, and that's what the resolution is tied to. We will have to make and amend the recommendations you'll see under the youth enrichment category. There was an oversight in the portal. One of the applications that came in from the Jewish Council for the Aging mistakenly went to the part of the portal that kind of stores the archives versus it coming into the active part of the portal. So it was never reviewed or scored by the Education Enrichment Committee. They're doing that this week with a determination on Friday. So we will get back to Tanisha and Mayor and Council once that re-review happens. We're still trying to figure out a little bit how that happened. I'm contributing it to staff error, meaning my error of clicking on the wrong button when it came into the portal. So I do apologize, especially to JCA for that mistake. But we're hoping to get it rectified and re-looked at this week. And again, the Ed Committee will meet on Friday to discuss it. So that's been set up. If there's no questions about that, I would like to turn it to Barbara, if that's okay for now. And we are referencing a resolution on page 22 to 25 of the packet tonight in regards to the community service grant. So if there aren't any questions, I will hand it to Barbara as our wonderful chair of the Community Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Maureen. I'm not seeing any hands, so go right ahead, but appreciate the information and the clarification about the JCA issue. Go ahead, Barbara.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and City Council. So the first thing I just have to do is, on behalf of the members of the Community Advisory and Educational Enrichment Committees, I want to thank you and extend my appreciation to the Mayor and City Council for your continued support of the grant programs that allow our nonprofit partners to provide such vital services to our residents. These past 2 years, and I would say maybe this year, were really challenging. And I'm not sure about that word challenging. If you can come up with a better word, let me know. Yeah, it certainly was for both our residents and for the agencies that provide direct services and educational supports. We would like to thank and acknowledge the impactful work of our grantees. Each agency invested incredible time and energy, pivoting to meet ever-changing and challenging needs. First, during the COVID crisis, and now as we move into recovery. Their work continued despite the challenges of delivering many services in a virtual environment for everybody's safety. Grantees continue to be committed to creative outreach and programming to ensure continued and equitable services to our residents. To give you an example of the work these agencies have been doing, our housing services contract extended contracted incomes by more than 100%, while the agencies of our food and nutrition contract exceeded outcomes by 900%. And several of our school-based nonprofit programs showed outcomes by the end of the third quarter exceeding contract services by more than 110%. Zoom sessions and in-neighborhood Outlook Pro meetings continue to be successful in providing mental health, vocational, and mentoring services, as well as important information for tenants facing eviction. We collect data from our guarantees on quarterly basis. A full report that includes the service numbers, the challenges, the successes, the outcomes for the FY21 grants will be available later this summer. Now, we're also very happy to report that membership in both the advisory committees have increased over the past 6 months. Between the two of us, we've added 5 dedicated and compassionate volunteers. Now, I need to add that the CAC probably needs one more because there's a little problem with 6 if there's a tie vote. But that aside, we do appreciate your ongoing assistance in helping us recruit members from across the city. The Community Advisory Committee has completed its review, its scoring, and recommendations for FY22. In the areas of food and nutrition, housing, financial empowerment, vocational services, health services, youth mental health, and services for seniors and disabled residents. Contracts for FY22 will continue to be offered in 6-month increments to allow for service modification during this period of recovery. Tonight, I come before you to request approval of the funding for the financial empowerment and housing preservation contract that, because of its recommended funding level, requires the mayor and council resolution. So I'd like to read the letter covering the resolution. The amount of $1,072,057 was approved in the FY22 City of Gaithersburg operating budget to provide funding for social service needs through grants to nonprofit agencies in the priority areas of seniors, disabled services, youth mental health, education support, health and mental health, housing, financial empowerment, vocational services, and food and nutrition. Contracts for the grants are being awarded for a 6-month period with the option of a 6-month extension pending community need and contract performance. The Community Advisory and Educational Enrichment Committees have made their FY22 recommendations for both the community service and school-based nonprofit grants, which continue to include a focus on inclusive community engagement and equitable services to families and youth. With the appropriation of funding effective July 1, 2021, the city manager is authorized to execute contracts with the awarded nonprofits for the delivery of services for this first 6 months of FY22. One community service grant is at the purchasing threshold, which requires mayor and city council resolution. Financial empowerment and housing preservation services, housing initiative partnership in the amount of $117,165. Information about the FY22 grants to nonprofit organizations can be found under community services on the city website at gaithersburgmd.gov. So we need a vote on the resolution. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Barbara. So do we have any questions from council members? And again, the main reason we have this resolution here is because this particular contract exceeds the $100,000 threshold that requires mayor and council approval. Otherwise, the budget was everything else is part of the budget we passed earlier.
Right.
Mike, I saw your hand, and then Lori Ann after that. I just want to thank Barbara and her colleagues on the CAC for their very thorough analysis and hard work on this. I think we have a great plan going forward, and this particular resolution for an item that goes over, that passes the threshold for council approval seems entirely reasonable and recognizes a partner that we've had, a nonprofit partner we've had for a long time. So I'm willing to move. I'm happy to move the resolution.
Okay. I'm going to go to Lori Ann first, and then we can get our second and vote. Go ahead, Lori Ann.
Okay, I would be willing to second it. I just wanted to echo the sentiments of our Vice President. Thank you for always doing, the challenging work of going through all of those applications and, I'm so glad that the committee has almost doubled in size, which is hard to believe, but this work was done by like 2 or 3 members previously. So I just appreciate this great work that you are doing in such a difficult time. I'm glad that we're able to even allocate this funding to residents in need for this issue. So without further ado, I will second the motion.
Okay, well said, Lorianne. I want to echo all those remarks. We are greatly appreciative of both of our committees and all of the work you do. So we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
And Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
All right, carries 4-0. Again, Barbara, Maureen, thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
And we're going to move on to our next agenda item. And tech team, if you could bring up S.A. Habtaselassie. I think I pronounced it like that. That reminds me of how pronouncing S.A.'s last name last time, and I think I got it pretty close. This we're going to talk about entering into a contract for a pavement condition survey and a right-of-way asset inventory of the city's road network and parking lots. SA, take it away, and welcome Tony Berger, our Director of Public Works, as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. The resolution for your consideration here authorizes the city manager to enter a contract for pavement condition survey and right-of-way assets inventory of city road network and parking lots. Public Works undertakes periodic condition surveys of our road network to monitor pavement conditions and to inform maintenance planning. The data obtained from the survey is used to calculate the pavement condition index, which helps us determine when, where, and what type of pavement maintenance is required. The city completed the first network pavement condition survey in 2016, and a second survey was completed in 2019. This contract establishes services for automated pavement condition data collection, processing, and analysis for over 223 lane miles of city roadway and over 69,000 square yards of city's parking lots. Survey of the parking lots in 12 locations is to be conducted for the first time. Information of other assets, including street signs, curb and gutters, will also be conducted. All data will be centrally housed and managed in the VWorks system. The project was advertised on 22nd of February, and we received 4 proposals. The proposals were evaluated by a review committee made up of GIS division, engineering division, and IT staff. After the first review, the committee sent clarification questions to offerers, and after reviewing offerers' response to the follow-up questions, the review committee unanimously selected DTS as the winning offerer, as they were the firm that made complete requirements. DTS also conducted the last survey in 2019. The total cost of the project is $139,072. Thank you.
Thank you, SA. So, we see that there's a company in the bidding that bid lower, and I'm assuming based on what you just said that there was something deficient or something, there's something superior in the DTS bid that got us to overlook that. Can you talk about that?
Right. Stantec, the one with the lowest bidders, didn't meet all our requirements. Their proposals were way lacking our requirements. The other 3 proposals were good proposals, but as I said, we got all what you need from DTS. So there were issues of lacking forms, of lack of experience of similar nature, So the review committee believes that DTS are the most qualified firm on this case.
Okay. I see Neil's hand. Go ahead, Neil.
So first of all, being a data geek, this is one of the favorite projects that you folks do. If this is what we've done before, you send out the vendor sends out a truck with laser beams and digital cameras and gathers all the data. So first of all, I would like to move the motion. And second of all, I'd like to know if ride-alongs are permitted.
Tony, I don't know.
I don't actually know that, Neil, but I'm more than happy to ask the vendor whenever we get them under contract.
Even if it's not a ride-along, I just want to see the vehicle with the laser beams.
I'm sure we can make some arrangements for you.
Yeah, just find out when they're going, just follow behind them, I guess. That's always an option.
Yeah,
any other questions? Go ahead, Neil. Sorry.
The fact that this project enables us to do empirical measurements of the road conditions and save a lot of money over the time by making road repairs before they become critical is just a phenomenal use of data gathering. So it's a wonderful project.
Totally agree.
Thanks.
Totally agree. Okay. Any other questions or comments? I saw Lorianne's hand first, then Mike's. Go ahead, Lorianne.
I just had a quick question about the location of the companies outside of Stantec. Where are those companies located, DTS, IMS, and Wallace?
DTS are located in Florida, I guess. But I cannot remember right now where the other companies are located. Wallace Montgomery are from Maryland, Montgomery County. But IMS, I'm not sure right now. Yeah.
And you said that there were things that were lacking in their application. Can you provide a bit more detail about what exactly? Was it their experience, their work with municipalities, or?
Okay, so for Wallace Montgomery, the subcontractor proposed and the prime contractor we didn't see experience working as a team for coordinated work between them. For IMS, there was issue in integrating the collected data into our system. So that is more from the expertise of our GIS team and the IT teams. But Stantec, a lot was lacking from their proposals.
Yeah, it looks like it was such a low bid in comparison to the others, but I know how important it is for us to try and support businesses that are local to our state, local to our community. And so the more that we can do that, without compromising the quality of work and service is, definitely a priority. But as you said, the lack of experience, but that's all I had.
Thanks, Lorianne. We'll go to Mike and then Rob.
Yeah, I presume that our experience with DTS may have also entered into this consideration. It makes sense. They're going to be able to move right in and do this pretty quickly. So I don't have any problems with this. I agree. We should definitely consider the location of the company, whether they're a local state or a state firm, but if they're not able to manage the data, integrate it well with our existing system, then I think it's better to go with one that we know, considering that their bid is probably pretty accurate. We're not going to get any adjustments to the overall cost, even though it probably wouldn't be allowed in the contract. So I'll second the resolution.
Okay, before we get to vote, we'll go to Rob, please.
Thanks, Mayor. Just had a quick, I guess, a back burner request. We're 5 years on with this program. I remember when it was first initiated, we had a lot of questions. about the techniques that were proposed here. We also had a lot of data. I think there was a lot of comparison that was provided between our road conditioning, the county's road conditioning, things like that. I was wondering, again, back burner issue, if we could perhaps get a programmatic update on, how this has gone over the past 5 years, what cost savings have we realized, what's the status of the roads conditions, perhaps a comparison versus the county again, but just kind of get an asthma check would be helpful to me. But again, very back burner issue.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. So I will call the roll. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Zespel.
Aye.
Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
And Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
All right, carries 4-0. Thank you very much, Essay and
Thank you.
and Tony. Next, tech team, we can bring up Melanie Brown, project manager, to talk about a resolution, mayor and council authorizing the city manager to enter in a construction contract for the construction of Old Town Fiber Duct Bank. Welcome, Melanie.
Hi. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. The resolution before you this evening is to authorize the city manager to award a construction contract for the construction of the Old Town Fiber Duct Bank. On April 1st, 2021, the city issued request for bid 2021-020 for the construction of the Old Town Fiber Duct Bank on the city website and in an issue of email and marketplace. The scope of work for this CIP project consists of installing fully functional fiber optic and electrical connectivity between City Hall, the Concert Pavilion, the currently under construction police station, and the Old Town parking garage. On May 7th, 2021, the city received one bid for the work outlined in the solicitation. The bid was submitted by Focus Communications LLC in the amount of $133,240 for the base scope of work. Also submitted but not included in the bid amount are unit prices for labor and materials should any unforeseen conditions require additional work, which is typical in underground work. This is a new contractor with the city and reference checks were conducted. Staff recommends award to the lowest responsible and responsive bidder, Focus Communications LLC, in an amount not to exceed $174,000. There are sufficient funds in the CIP budget for this project. And is there any questions?
Yes, thank you. We'll go to Neil Harris.
I'm just curious why the not to exceed number is so much higher than the bid amount. Is there really a question of that much potential extra work to be done?
No, but we wanted to have some allowance in there in case we did encounter any problems. We didn't have to stop the actual work. We asked for some linear foot pricing on some items that we thought might come up, just so we have those prices negotiated and we can easily issue a change order not to slow down construction.
Any other questions? Neil, did you have more?
No, I'd just like to move the resolution on that basis.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, or does someone want to second it? Mike.
I'll second it, but I have a question as well. I'm just curious how our architectural and engineering estimate was 60,000, almost 60,000 larger than the actual bid. So are we overestimating the cost of these things, or was it just well, maybe you can explain.
No, great question. One of the things that we did notice was the contractor is proposing directional boring. So that's a lot less labor intensive, where the architect had proposed all hand digging and trenching.
So I guess we're satisfied that directional boring will provide the protection we need for our system, the cables and everything from anything else.
Correct. There will be a little bit of hand digging. We'll do some test pits over like through Summit Avenue and Old Town just to understand what the depth of the existing utilities are. But once we have that, we will be doing the directional boring.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, we have Lorianne, please.
Thank you, sir. Will this impact any of the surrounding businesses, the sidewalks, or?
No, it should not. There's always unforeseen conditions. If we were to hit a utility, that's something we can't predict, but we're not anticipating that.
Oh, okay, all right. So we don't have to notify the surrounding businesses about this work?
We will always do our social media campaign, just letting them know what's going on in the area, but there shouldn't be any road closures.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rob Wu.
Thanks, Mayor. Just on that note, does the contractor know to call Miss Utility 3 days before breaking ground?
Yes, they do.
All right, so we have we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
And Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
All right, carries 4-0. Thank you very much, Melanie. Next, we're going to go into policy discussion, and tech team, if you could bring up Laura May Food, that would be great. And this is about the rezoning of 35 and 37 South Summit Avenue from R90 to CBD.
Did we miss something, Judd?
Did we? Yes, we did. I am sorry. Tech team, you were correct. You brought up Mark's Graffiti, and you were right to do that. I just didn't have that open in my little outline here. Okay, Mark, take it away. I'll let you do it.
Yeah, so Kevin Edders should be on also, I believe. If he's not up, then I will
He
go
should
ahead
be.
and
Kevin, he was having trouble with his video earlier. Kevin,
There he
can you
is.
hear us? Kevin Edders, do you hear us?
Yes, Mayor, I can hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, hear you. Go right ahead.
All right, good evening, Mayor and council members. The resolution before you tonight is to authorize the city manager to negotiate and enter into a multi-year contract for mowing and related landscape services. The current contract for mowing and related landscape services was extended last year due to circumstances resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic and the uncertainty surrounding the potential impacts of the crisis. RFP 2021-015 was advertised on the city's website and in an issue of eMaryland Marketplace on January 19, 2021, and proposals were received on February 19, 2021. An evaluation committee was established and evaluated and scored all 6 responsive proposals. Lancaster Landscapes received the highest score from the evaluation committee, and the committee believes their proposal to be the best value for the city. Therefore, staff recommends award of the contract to Lancaster Landscapes in the amount of $305,329 to include the bid price, add alternate services, and $10,000 designated for potential add-on properties. Funding is available. And do you have any questions?
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, do you want to elaborate a little bit more about why this is the third lowest bid, why the 2 that were lower were inferior to this bid?
Yeah, so the lower cost proposals here, the committee felt that there was not a full understanding of the requirements. They did not properly address the entirety of the scope. And, Lancaster has proven in the past to be superior to get, to understand the scope and, in their work.
So the lower 2 didn't understand the scope of work?
No, so, I mean, if you look at some of the costs proposed for, some of the scope, just the time and materials needed would not, reflect what to get it done according to what the requirement.
Okay. Questions from the council? Rob Wu.
Thanks, Mayor, and thank you, Kevin and Mark, for the presentation. Who's our current lawn care contractor?
Lancaster Land.
Okay, so Okay, so we have a past performance relationship with them.
Yes,
and
yes, we do.
We're satisfied.
Yes, very satisfied.
Okay. And just a quick note, if you've got additive bid items in, I would be interested in seeing them all for all of the bidders. Because you've got the bid amounts listed, but then obviously you add in the bid items and then you add in the $10,000, you come to a different total amount. So just for future reference, I would be interested in seeing that.
Yes, I will make that note.
All right, thanks, Rob. Any question? Mike, please, and then Laura.
I had a similar question. What are the alternate services that we're adding to this and add-ons, other add-ons?
Yeah, so the alternate services include broadleaf weed protection, aeration, and overseeding and mulching of a lot of the medians on your major roadways to kind of revitalize those areas. They've been, so impacted with snow and salt, and to kind of get those back into shape, we, do have added those services.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go to Lorianne.
Thank you, Mayor. So I see the bid amount was $212 for Lancaster, but the award amount is $305,000. So that includes all of the alternate services in addition to $10,000 for another add-on.
Yes, that includes all of the alternate services and the 10,000 for potential additional properties that might crop in the future.
So would this additional add-on service, was this not included in the original solicitation?
It was included in the solicitation, yes.
So I guess I'm trying to understand why. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, so sometimes during a year, right, we might decide it's more beneficial to have the contractor mow a stormwater area versus sending the city's staff in. So that's what the $10,000 is for, any additional properties that we might see fit to add, in the future. So based on staffing levels, things that we're doing, adding additional parks, it's just in case we need to add any additional properties to the mowing services. For the add alternates, we're actually kind of doing a big program where we're trying to make the city's medians look a lot better. So they haven't been aerated and overseeded in probably 10 or 15 years. So we're going to add these services to help, actually bring up the standard and actually make the city's medians look better. So that's been a goal of mine over the last couple of years. With budgets and stuff like that and COVID, we haven't gotten to it. So, this is kind of my big push to really make the city look good for the residents of Gaithersburg.
And to add to Mark's explanation, those alternates were available in the specs for the other bidders to bid on. So I hope that makes sense, Lorianne. So the other bidders were able to provide alternate bids as well. So what you're seeing is the original bid.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so would someone like to move the resolution? Go ahead, Rob.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'll move the resolution, especially because I know it has Mark's priority in it.
Okay, Lorianne.
Second.
All right, I will call the roll. All in favor say aye, any opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Setsma.
Aye.
Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
And Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
All right, carries 4-0. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Next, I think I'm right this time, we're going into policy discussions, and tech team has brought up Laura Mayfood. Laura, go right ahead.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute there. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Could the tech team bring up packet page 56, please? This is policy discussion on zoning map amendment Z8814 2021. A joint public hearing for this was held on April 19th, 2021. As discussed during the public hearing, this application proposes to rezone two properties, 35 and 37 South Summit Avenue, which are highlighted on the screen in red, from the R90 zone to the CBD zone, which is in compliance with the city's master plan. And then could the tech team go to page 59, please? And you'll see on this map that this would just be an extension of the existing CBD zoned area as it approaches the Frederick Avenue corridor. As noted in the staff report, this is a standard method zoning map amendment, and the requirements for standard method map amendments outlined in the code do not include any type of site development plan. But section 2410A does outline findings required for approval, which include the application must comply with the purposes and intent of the zone, and the application must be compatible and harmonious with existing and planned uses in the surrounding area. As the applicant discussed in their joint public hearing presentation, they intend to maintain the properties as single-family detached residences. However, the primary structure at 37 South Summit Avenue is legally non-conforming, and the dimensional restrictions in the R90 zone would prevent the applicant from making certain improvements to the home that are needed to increase livability and meet the family's needs. Rezoning would provide greater flexibility for these improvements. Some concerns were raised during the joint public hearing about compatibility with the adjacent residential neighborhood should the properties be redeveloped in the future. The applicant has submitted a statement in response to these concerns, which is Exhibit 20. Any major change to these properties would require review and approval by the City Planning Commission. And due to the age of the structures, the Historic District Commission would have to review any demolition. Additionally, as noted in the applicant's response letter, the city's master plan also acknowledges the surrounding context and states that any redevelopment of these properties should be sensitive to the adjoining residential neighborhood. So in short, this means that any proposed substantive change couldn't be done by right, so to speak, but it would have a higher level of compatibility review. The Planning Commission, upon their review of the record and staff's analysis, gave a recommendation of approval during their June 2nd, 2021 meeting. The council's record closed at 5 p.m. Friday, June 11th, 2021, and staff received a total of 6 public comments on this application as of the closing of the record. Of those, 1 was opposed and 5 were in support of the application. A draft ordinance for Z8814 2021 has been included and is ready for final action should the council so choose. The applicant, Doug Wagner, is also in attendance this evening, and we would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Laura. So this is policy discussion, and were I voting tonight, I would vote to support this. And I will give council members a chance to say their piece here before we take a vote. Who would like to go first? Mike.
Thanks, Laura, for a nice summary. I think it captured all the high points and certainly addresses concerns about what the potential changes that could happen if this property turns over. I assume all of the conditions under this ordinance would still apply. So even a new owner would need to make sure that any changes were compatible with the adjacent residential areas.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, on that basis and the support from neighbors, I would move the ordinance. Do I need to read more of it? Z8814-2021.
Thank you, Mike. Do we have anybody else who'd like to speak on it, or does someone just want a second and move forward? Neil, go ahead.
So I read through the material in the packet, and in particular, the testimony that was given at the last meeting and the letters that were sent in support of the project. And basically, it seems like there's no particular reason to not proceed with the rezoning. So I will second the ordinance.
Okay, Rob Wu.
Thanks, Mayor. Just sorry to cut off from the motion in a second. Just a quick question, if I could. So we recently had a lot of discussion on this zone, and it seems to me that even though there's a transition into the new zoning requirements, there are still the ability to exercise control, because a lot of what we were hearing in the last session is they're concerned about the setback requirements between the R zone and the CBD zone, and so I just wanted to make sure. From a staff perspective, that your opinion is that we have the ability, to ensure that this property can have the same setback requirements or compatibility requirements with the adjacent R zone in particular.
Mm-hmm. So the CBD zone, in terms of setbacks, most of the time setbacks are established by the site plan, so it'd be reviewed and approved by the City Planning Commission. There are some minimum setbacks, a 15-foot setback if it adjoins a residentially zoned property. So there is that sort of minimum requirement there, but Planning Commission does have discretion. There are findings required for approval of a site plan, and those findings include compatibility with the adjoining uses and ensuring that it's not going to adversely impact the surrounding area as well. So I think there is definitely some room for some review there.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
All right, you're welcome. And I'm not seeing any other hands. So we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. All those in favor say aye, and opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
And Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
All right, thank you all very much. Carries 4-0. Laura, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is from the City Attorney. Anything from you, Lynn?
I have no report this evening.
Okay, and I don't believe we have anything from any other staff at this point, so I will just remind everyone that we do have an executive. Oh, Doris.
I believe John Schlichting did have.
That's right. Yes, thank you, Doris. Twice I am saved by staff on our agenda tonight. Although this, to be fair, this wasn't on the agenda. It's just I had it written down that John was going to speak in this from other staff. Go ahead, John.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am John Schlichting. I'm your Director of Planning and Code Administration, and I want to call your attention this evening to a memo from me in your package this week dated July 1, which is the annual schools test memo required by the city's Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance, otherwise known as the APFO. I call your attention especially to the last section, the relationship to the Montgomery County Schools test. As you may recall, in 2015, we amended our APFO to include our ability to charge a Gaithersburg Montgomery County Schools facility payment fee, which we were able to charge because it was commensurate with the Montgomery County fee. Both fees were paid by developers building new residential where students would be attending overcrowded schools, and the funds went only to school construction. The county eliminated their fee shortly thereafter in 2016, which meant we've never been able to charge that fee, our own fee. Fast forward to 2020, and the county has now instituted a new utilization premium payment fee to raise funds from residential development for school construction. So this is a heads up for a September 13th work session where staff will be proposing changes to our APFO so that the city can charge a fee that's commensurate with the new utilization premium payment fee. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Neil Harris.
I actually have a question on another item that was in that memo and the other materials you put in the packet relating to Summit Hall Elementary being horrendously overcrowded.
Right.
I think it got up over 160% during this time period. Wouldn't that be relieved by Gaithersburg Elementary School number 8? And if so, why is that still considered to be that much overcapacity? Where I know with Rachel Carson, it gets considerably relieved by the Dufif edition, which comes later.
We don't know what the boundary is going to be yet for the new elementary school. That's
the
why.
issue.
because
What's
the
that?
boundary isn't final.
Right. They haven't established the boundaries yet.
Okay. I wasn't aware that the boundary wasn't final because it's already gone through several stages of review, but that makes more sense. So, but we don't expect that we'll actually get into the 160+% capacity range once the new boundary study is set. So there's one way or another, it'll get relief.
That's the hope.
All right. Should be, hopefully it's more than a hope. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Neil. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, thank you very much, John.
Thank you all.
And with that, I'll remind everyone to join us for our work session next week, where we have 2 presentations from the county and then an in-depth discussion about our stream restoration project there and maybe our strategy in general. And again, we are having an closed executive session immediately after this meeting. Until next time, let's do great things, Gaithersburg. We are adjourned.